The thing they don't tell you about silence is how heavy it gets. It ain't just the absence of sound. It's a physical weight, a thick, wool blanket smothering the world, pressing down on your eardrums until they ache with the strain of listening to nothing. Out here, past where the power lines give up and the paved roads turn to gravel, then to dirt, then to forgotten animal tracks, the silence has a taste. It's the coppery tang of old well water and the dust of dried-out pine needles. My name is Leo, and for the last 72 hours, that silence has been my only companion, broken only by the frantic thumping of my own heart. I'm holed up in the root cellar of my cousin Jessa's hunting cabin, a place that smelled of damp earth and rotting potatoes even before. I started sweating pure fear. The only light is a single, battery-powered lantern, its glow throwing long, dancing shadows that look an awful lot like fingers reaching for me. It started with a phone call. 3 days ago, my phone had buzzed on my nightstand, shattering the comfortable city noise lull of my apartment. It was Jessa. Her voice was a tight, thin wire, stretched to its breaking point. "Leo, you gotta come out to the cabin. The one Dad left me," I'd groaned, rolling over. "Jessa, it's midnight, and that place is in the middle of goddamn nowhere." "It's in the woods, Leo, not nowhere." A pause. I could hear her breathing, shallow and quick. "Something's wrong here." "Wrong how? Raccoon in the chimney again? You remember how to use a broom, right?" "It's not a raccoon." Her voice dropped to a whisper, so low I had to press the phone hard against my ear. It's the quiet. It's different. It's watching." I'd chalked it up to her overactive imagination, a lifelong trait that had only been sharpened by inheriting a secluded cabin after her dad's passing. She was an artist, a sculptor who worked with reclaimed metal and bone. She saw souls in twisted scrap, but there was a raw, unvarnished terror in her whisper that bypassed my skepticism and went straight for the lizard brain at the base of my skull. "Jess, are you safe?" "Are you hurt?" "I don't know." "I don't think so. Not yet, it mimics, Leo." "It mimics what?" "Everything." Last night I heard Mom's voice. Mom, who's been dead for 10 years. She was singing that lullaby, you know the one? From the porch. But when I looked, there was nothing. Just the dark. And the quiet got deeper, like it was pleased with itself. A cold knot tightened in my stomach. "I'm coming, okay? First thing in the morning. Just sit tight. Don't go outside." "It's already inside, Leo," she'd said, and the line went dead. I drove out at dawn. The journey felt like traveling back in time, the world slowly stripping away its modern skin. The dense forests of upstate New York swallowed the sun, the canopy so thick it felt like twilight at noon. The GPS died about 20 miles back, and I had to rely on Jessa's hand-scribbled map, the one with the big X that simply said home. I found her truck parked haphazardly in the clearing, the driver's side door hanging open like a broken wing. The cabin itself was a squat, dark thing made of rough-hewn logs, crouching under the trees as if trying to hide. The silence I'd felt on the drive was nothing compared to the one that lived here. This was a predatory silence, a hunter's silence. "Jessa?" I called out, my voice swallowed up almost instantly by the oppressive stillness. No answer. The front door was unlocked. I pushed it open, the creak of the hinges obscenely loud. The main room was a disaster, but not one of violence. It was a disaster of creation. Jessa's sculptures were everywhere, but they were wrong. A beautiful deer skull she'd been working on was now tangled in a grotesque web of copper wire and what looked like her own hair, the strands woven so tightly they bit into the bone. A mobile made of polished river stones now hung too low, the strings shortened, the stones clumping together like a malignant mineral fruit. And in the center of the room, on the rough wooden table, was a new piece. It was a figure about 2 feet tall, constructed from bent cutlery, scraps of tinfoil, and jagged shards of mirror. It was vaguely humanoid, but its proportions were all off, arms too long, head cocked at an impossible angle, and where its face should have been, there was only a single, smooth shard of mirror reflecting the room, reflecting the open door, reflecting my own terrified face back at me. It was the most unsettling thing I'd ever seen. It wasn't just art. It was a warning. A scream given form. "Jessa?" I called again, my voice trembling. A faint sound came from the back bedroom, a scratching, like a fingernail on wood. I moved slowly, my heart hammering against my ribs. The door to the bedroom was slightly ajar. I pushed it. Jessa was sitting on the floor, her back to me. She was working on something, her hands moving in a frantic, jerky rhythm. Her usually vibrant red hair was lank and dull. "Jessa, thank God, are you okay?" She didn't turn. The scratching continued. Scritch, scrape, scritch. "Jess?" Slowly, her head began to turn. It wasn't a smooth motion. It was a series of stiff, mechanical increments like a broken clockwork doll. Her face came into view. It was her, but it wasn't. Her eyes, usually a bright, laughing green, were wide and vacant. The pupils shrunk to pinpricks. Her skin was pale, waxy, and she was smiling. A small, placid, utterly alien smile that didn't touch her eyes. "You came?" she said. Her voice was flat, monotone. It was Jessa's voice. But all the music, all the life, had been scraped out of it. "What's going on?" "What's wrong with you?" "Nothing's wrong," the thing that looked like Jessa said. "It's just quiet now. It's so much better when it's quiet. It doesn't have to work so hard." "What doesn't?" I took a step back, my hand gripping the door frame. Her head tilted. Crick. The listener. As she said it, the silence in the room seemed to congeal, to become a substance I was wading through. The air grew cold. The small, sane part of my brain was screaming at me to run, to get back in my car and never stop driving. "It's been so lonely out here," not Jessa said, her smile widening a fraction. A tiny black thread of drool escaped the corner of her mouth. "It likes company. It learns from company." She held up what she was working on. It was another small figure, this one made from mud and sticks and bits of her own clothing. It was crude, childish, and it looked like me. That's when I broke. I turned and ran. I didn't look back. I heard her itches call after me, but not in her stolen voice. It was my voice, a perfect mimic laced with a panic I was feeling down to my marrow. "Leo, help me! Don't leave me here!" I burst out of the cabin, sprinting for my car. The keys were in my pocket. I fumbled for them, my hands shaking so badly I could barely grip the fob. I yanked the car door open and threw myself inside, slamming the lock button with a fist. The engine turned over once, twice, then died. "No, no, no, no." I tried again. The starter motor whined, a pathetic weakening sound. The dashboard lights flickered and went out. Scritch, scrape. The sound wasn't coming from the cabin anymore. It was coming from the roof of my car, a slow, deliberate dragging, like a bone being drawn across the metal. I looked up, and I saw it in the rearview mirror. Not the thing itself, but its effect. The dense pine branches directly above my car were twisting. Not swaying in a wind, there was no wind. They were contorting, knitting themselves together, forming a dense, living cage over the vehicle. Thorns I'd never seen on these trees before sprouted from the wood, long and needle-sharp. I was trapped. That was 3 days ago. Since then, I've learned the rules of this new, horrifying reality. The thing out here, the listener, doesn't have a form you can fight. It is the silence. It is the woods. It feeds on sound, on life, on identity. It learns by listening. And it uses what it learns to hollow you out and wear you like a suit. The first night, it used Jessa's voice. It stood just outside the tree line, calling my name, begging me to come help her, sobbing that she was hurt. It was perfect. Every inflection, every little catch in her throat. I almost went out there. I had my hand on the door handle before I saw her, the real her, or what was left of it, standing on the porch of the cabin. She was perfectly still, that same vacant smile on her face. Watching the performance, the second night, it got smarter. It used my mother's voice. My mom, who passed away 5 years ago from cancer. It replicated her soft, gentle tone. The way she'd call me Leo, my lion, when I was scared. It sang the old lullaby she used to sing. I cried. I put my hands over my ears and screamed until my throat was raw. But I couldn't block it out. It wasn't coming from outside. It was inside my own head, and the silence that followed my screams. It was different. It was a gloating, satisfied silence, a digesting silence. That's when I made a run for the root cellar. The cabin was its territory, a nest it had already claimed. The cellar was old, forgotten, the entrance hidden by a flap of overgrown sod. It was my only chance. I've been down here since. The battery on my lantern is my lifeline, my clock. When it dies, the true dark will come, and I don't think I can survive that. It's learned so much. Last night, it didn't use a voice at all. It recreated the sound of my car starting. The engine turned over, strong and healthy. The headlights cut through the trees, painting bars of light across the cellar door. Hope weaponized. It was the cruelest trick yet. I almost wept with relief. I was halfway up the ladder before I realized the sound was coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. A perfect, soulless audio recording played on the air itself. The moment I stopped, the sound cut off and the gloating silence returned.
I'm so tired.
My body aches from the cold and the tension. I'm down to my last bottle of water, the last protein bar. Hunger is a gnawing reality, but it's nothing compared to the psychic drain, the constant listening, the fear of what I'll hear next. It's starting again. At first, it's just a whisper. So faint, I think it's the blood rushing in my ears. But it grows. Tap, 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 tap. It's the sound of my own knuckles. The specific rhythm I used to use on Jess's window when we were kids, sneaking out at night, a little secret code just between us. Tap, 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 tap. It's coming from the other side of the cellar door, right above me. Then a voice. It's my voice, but not the panicked one it used before. This is my calm voice, my reasonable. Everything is going to be okay voice. I use when I'm trying to talk myself down from a ledge. Leo, it says, my own tone soothing and familiar. This is silly. You can't stay down there forever. You're hungry. You're thirsty. Come on out. I clamp my hands over my mouth, biting down on a knuckle to keep from sobbing. The rational part of its argument is the most terrifying part. It's right. I can't stay here. We're worried about you, man. Jess is worried. She's fine now. She's happier. It's better when you stop fighting. The quiet isn't bad, Leo. It's peace. Real peace. I close my eyes, but it doesn't help. The voice is inside the cellar with me, curling into the spaces between the dusty jars of preserves, slithering into my ears. Remember that time at Coney Island? It continues, my voice warm with nostalgia. When you beat me at the ring toss and won that giant ugly teddy bear, we laughed so hard we cried. Remember the taste of that cotton candy? The smell of the salt air? It's pulling my own memories, my own joy, and twisting them into a lure. It's building a portrait of such perfect, serene surrender. I find myself nodding, my body relaxing against my will. Maybe it is better. Maybe the fight is the only thing that hurts. Just open the door, Leo, my voice coaxes. It's easy. Just one little push. Let the quiet in. My hand, trembling and slick with sweat, reaches for the ladder. It's a betrayal of every survival instinct I have left. But the voice is so persuasive, so right. It's offering an end to the fear, an end to the exhaustion. I climb. Each rung of the old wooden ladder groans under my weight. The tapping has stopped. The voice has stopped. It's waiting. My head brushes against the rough wood of the cellar door. This is it, the point of no return. I take a deep, shuddering breath, and I push. The door doesn't budge. It's locked, or barred from the outside, or held down by the roots of the trees it commands. For a single crystalline moment, there is nothing. No sound, no voice. Just the frantic pounding of my heart, and then the silence breaks. But not with a voice, not with a mimic. It's a sound I've never heard before. A low, wet, tearing sound, like roots being pulled from saturated earth. It's followed by a dry, rattling exhalation that seems to come from the soil walls around me. It's the sound of the woods themselves. The sound of the listener when it's no longer bothering to pretend. It's not offering peace anymore. It's not trying to lure me out. I scrabble back down the ladder, falling the last few feet and landing in a heap on the dirt floor. The lantern flickers. The sound comes again, closer this time. It's directly above the door now. I can feel it through the wood. A vibration that isn't sound, but something deeper, something older. It's the feeling of being studied by something that has never known light. Only the deep, patient dark of the earth. It's done playing with its food. The scratching starts again, but it's different. It's not a mimicry of anything human. It's the sound of something hard and chitinous, something with too many joints scraping against the wood. It's looking for a way in. The rational part of my mind, the part that has been clinging to the hope of rescue, of dawn, of anything, finally shatters. This isn't a ghost story. This is something else. Something that was here long before the cabin. Before the first humans ever walked these woods. It's the reason this particular patch of land felt so silent. It's the apex predator of sound, and I am its last lonely source of nourishment. The lantern sputters. The light wavers. the shadows leaping and twisting into monstrous shapes on the wall. The battery is dying. The scraping at the door grows more frantic. A long, thin sliver of darkness appears at the edge of the door frame. It's not wood splintering. It's the wood itself pulling apart, the grain separating like unwilling flesh. The thing outside is coming in, not through the door, but through the very material it's made of. The lantern light gutters, dims to a faint orange ember, and then snaps out. The dark is absolute. It's a solid thing. It pours into my mouth, my lungs, my soul. It is the silence given form. The scraping stops. In the perfect, suffocating blackness, I can feel it. It's in the cellar with me. It doesn't breathe. It doesn't move. It simply is, a presence so vast and ancient that my own existence feels like a flicker of static before it. There is no sound. There is only the quiet, and then, in the heart of that impossible silence, a new sound begins. It starts as a faint pressure in my inner ear, then resolves into a whisper. But it's not mimicking anyone I know anymore. It's my own voice, yes, but stripped of every emotion, every memory, every shred of what made me, me. It is the voice of the silence itself, speaking with the vocal cords it is about to claim. It says only 2 words with a cold, final curiosity. "Hello, Leo." And then it begins to listen. Not to the sounds I make, but to the sound of me coming apart. And for the first time, in the warm, welcoming, eternal dark, there is no need to scream.